Alright, right here we're going to put together a 383 small block Chevy to sit in an 86 Firebird Trans Am. Should be pretty sweet.
Guess we'll start putting the cam in first. I usually like to put the cam in first just because I can guide it before I put the crank in, and I won't nick the bearings. I have more control over the installation.
Gotcha. How would you rate that cam?
Limited street use. It's kind of radical. It's probably one of the biggest hydraulic cams you can use. So one end sticks up on the cap side, the other end will be sticking out the same way. That way it can never leak past because it can't get past that line. Makes a perfect circle.
And what would they be?
These are the main caps. They hold the crankshaft to the block. They have an arrow and they're numbered. The arrow always goes towards the front of the engine. You never want to mix the caps up because they're numbered to each main saddle, and it makes a perfect circle. So the clearances, if you mix them up, will change. That's why you never want to mix them up, and you want to put them in the right direction.
So now that the crank's in, what would be the next step?
I'm going to run it down with this impact. I start middle. Stagger it. Next, these have to be torqued down. We're going to torque these to 65 foot-pounds. We use a torque wrench. All the numbers for the torque specs are dialed, so we loosen it. We find 70 and 60. The numbers on this thimble are 0 to 10. So at 0 we're at 60. We want to go 65. We just turn it to 5. Now we're ready to torque it. Once it clicks, we're at the torque we need to be.
You don't want to over torque these, right?
No, exactly not. We'll just go recheck. Alright, that's it. It's all done.
Okay, so what's next on the agenda?
Now we're going to install the pistons. We use a ring compressor. It's almost like just a band. It squeezes the rings together so it'll slide through the bore. Now on this side, you can see it has 2 rod bolts. You want to hold your hand on the bolts so they don't nick the crank as it's coming through. Alright, pistons in. I'm going to walk over here, turn the motor over. It has a tab right here. You want to match the tab to the rod. That's installed correctly.
How long does one of these typical engine builds take to complete?
The assembly part doesn't take too long. Sometimes figuring out everything to get it fitted correctly, especially on a custom deal like this, takes longer. But if everything's correct, you could probably assemble a short block within an hour, 2 hours tops.
Okay, so right now it looks like we're going to be putting on the timing chain. You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, on this, it has the double gear instead of a single. It has marks on the gears with plus or minus 4 degrees advance. It has a 0 right here, which will be straight up and down, and it'll have another number, 4 degrees minus. So what that means is we can advance or retard the camshaft as it's phased to the timing of the engine. For this particular one, it's already been degreed with a wheel. We're going to advance the camshaft 4 degrees to give it more bottom end. If we put it in straight up, it's kind of a middle of the road type performance. If we retard it, it's more for top end power. So now we're going to install the chain, double roller, billet gear. There's a dot right here on the top gear. We want to line it up with the mark on the bottom gear. If this is out of line, either the vehicle won't start or your performance will suffer greatly if it's off a few degrees. So I would say it's extremely important. On this, we're going to use a tab, and what happens when we tighten these bolts for the gear to the cam, these tabs fold down, and they're like a locking device to keep the nuts from backing off. Yeah, that's gonna fucking happen.
Big one.
Yeah, here we go for the 100th time. Hand grenade pins in every line. Throw them up and let something shine. Going out of my fucking mind. Filthy mouth, no excuse. Find a new place to hang this noose. String me up from atop these roofs. Knot it tight so I won't get loose. Truth is you can stop and stare. Run myself out and no one cares. Dug the trench out, lay down there with a shovel. I'm bound to reach somewhere. Yeah, someone pour it in. Make it a dirt dance floor again. Saying prayers and stop it out when they bring that.
I'm gonna check our marks. Make sure it's perfectly lined up. And we're good. We'll fold these tabs down, lock these bolts into place, and we can finish the rest of the assembly of the short block.
What's with the mask?
Well, until we legalize street racing, we want to keep all innocent parties protected. So that's the main reason for the mask.
Oh.